Hey Flosstube, Ashley here, Witchy Stitcher on YouTube, Shizm_Witchy Stitcher on Instagram, coming to you guys with a normal WIP update. We have tons to go through today. I have an entire couch full of cross-stitch patterns to show you. I have a finish. I have my lifetime new start that I'm going to show you guys the kit up for. We're talking about the no new start plans or cancellation of thereof. Yeah. Lots to show. Let's just go ahead and get started. So disclaimer per normal WIP updates is I sometimes forget what I've worked on. I wanted to do these WIP updates weekly, but that's just not, I don't know, I'm still trying. I'm still trying. But kids are crazy and it's spring break and it just gets really hard to record when I have the teeny tiny trying to mess with the camera. So hopefully I grabbed everything. Some of this might be a repeat from my WIP update videos, but just skip past that if it is. I will try and leave all of the links to all of the shops that I mention in the description box down below. And if you have any questions, feel free to just send me a message. Okay, with all of that said, let's go ahead and get started. We have a fair bit of full coverage this time for stitching. I recorded some of those WIP update videos or WIP parades and saw some of the patterns, and of course that's one of the reasons why I like to do my WIP parades, especially twice a year, is because I like to see my projects and it normally makes me want to just stitch them. So it's like I love all of my patterns, I just don't have enough time and sometimes I forget about them, and so seeing them in person instead of just like a picture on my phone is really nice. So that being said, first things first, we have Mini Moon Charmer, charted by Heaven Earth Designs. Artwork is Amy Stewart, and this one I stitched about, I think, 300 stitches on this. So here is where we are at. I'm still working on the first page. No, this is the second page, I think. So here's the whole thing. I don't want to take the frame out because or the hoop out because I've been kind of stitching on it, but I am missing like 1 or 2 colors of this. So there are a couple of confetti stitches that I'm missing in like the stars. But yeah, so far I'm really in love with this pattern. It's got all my favorite blues in it and everything. It's just, I love this pattern. And then of course I got my little needle minder. This was made by Emma. iwasphoebe on Instagram. She sent that to me for my birthday. So, but yeah, here's the whole thing, or where I've gotten to. This is stitched on 18 count Aida. No, 16 count Aida 4 over 1/10 stitch. 16 count Aida. Okay. You're fine. Go ahead and just leave the door open so it's not squeaky, okay? What is it? Okay. Next up we have my Disney Castle. Again, I did some of the WIP parades and saw some of these projects and I'm like, I have to work on these. So here is this one. Excuse the wrinkled pattern picture. But here it is. And this one I got a fair bit done on. This one I got about 1,000 stitches since I last showed it to everybody. So here is where we've done. I basically did all of this, and I've really been liking stitching the Royal Rose, well, modified Royal Rose. I'm doing like 2 columns at a time and then park to the right if I can, if not park down below, but I'm a little more lenient on my parking, so there is that. But here is the whole thing so far. So we're almost done with this page. We're about halfway done with this page. Put everything back away so so it's not total chaos afterwards. It's already chaos because I had to pull everything out of its like individual like drawers so I can show you guys. And I dropped a piece of floss. No, I dropped some patterns, it looks like. All right, there is that one. I'm just gonna create a pile over here. Next up, we have my zebra. Just leave the door open, please. I have a picture of all my cross stitch patterns. And let's see. There we go. So here is the zebra. Some of these projects that I started at the beginning of the year just didn't get very many stitches, so I wanted to at least touch them all again. So I did, I think 150 more stitches on this one. So I did a little bit more black, and then I started doing this like grayish, like cream color. And just slowly filling it all in. Every stitch counts, so it doesn't matter if you pick something up and only put in 25 stitches. It will all add up in the end. Next up, I stitched about 100 stitches on this one. This is a Russian kit called Coffee Admirers. This was gifted to me by Emma. And let's see here. I gotta get it in the right orientation to show everybody. All right, I am working on this, the top of this cup right here. So I just picked 2 colors and started filling it in. I did 2 strands worth. So that's where we got so far. Still not very far, but again, I'm just trying to touch them at least a little bit because every stitch counts. And some of the ones that don't work in Pattern Keeper are a little bit harder for me to stitch on just because I have a hard time focusing without the kiddos, or with the kiddos doing things. In the background, I lose like count and stuff, so if I'm working on something that's like a paper pattern or something I've like scanned and doesn't work in Pattern Keeper, I have a little bit harder of a time. So those patterns don't get quite as much time. Okay, next up we have Home is Where the Books Are, I believe is what it's called. Home is Where the Books Are, yeah. Books, sweet books. Gotta cover the pattern. This is from Foxy Floss Shop. I always have a hard time saying her channel name. Or anyway. So I just did, I just worked on this. I think I did about 600 stitches on this one. And what I want to do, and as you can see, I'm kind of just stitching this outline color all the way across. This is the middle of the pattern right here. And I'm just stitching the outline of everything, and then I'm going to fill it in almost like a color book. So this is definitely one of my favorite projects that I have, and it's so much fun to stitch on, especially being 14 count. Yeah, 14 count. So yeah, super excited about this one. It's one of my favorites. So, what, honey?
That's one of my favorites.
Oh, it's one of your favorites too. Okay. Okay. Next up, we have Dragons and Apples. This one is stitched on 18 count Fiddler's Ada. Honey, what is it?
Nothing.
Okay, you keep looking like you need to talk to me. Give me some boogie bass. Okay. This one is only supposed to be 3 colors, but I decided to change all of the colors. So this is what it's supposed to look like. And I finally finished this corner. I just had a little bit more of the border left to do. So I finished that, and then I moved down to start framing in this next one. I can't see what I'm showing you guys. There we go. So I started framing in this next section. I'm pretty sure this is one of the biggest like sections of the pattern, but one of my favorites. So this one will just have like a bunch of night sky let me see if I can show you. Ah, what's happening? So it's this left section right there, right here, left to me anyway. And so for the background, instead of doing black, I'm doing this like nighttime looking color, which is super cool. And that's going to be filled in pretty much all around the dragon, and then the dragon will still be white or like whatever the fabric color is, but then the wings will be like a bluish color, kind of like up here. So yep, we're getting there. Like I said, it took a lot to try and outline that frame. But what I like to do with frames is I'm missing something. A needle minder dropped somewhere. I'm missing a magnet. Yep, it's in here. Okay. Hold on, I gotta grab this magnet without it falling into my couch. Okay, so for frames or a big section in general, I like to do 10 stitch all the way around to make sure my count is correct, and then I go back through and add the second like leg of the stitch to make it an X. Okay, next up, so I have been trying to have a car project lately. I saw Crafty Jamie Gamer. I don't remember her channel name. Anyway, she's one of my favorites to watch. I'll leave her YouTube channel down below. She was mentioning that she's working on her Christmas project in the car pickup line to pick up her kids, and I was like, that's a genius idea. So I've been doing that as well. And my current rotation, this is my car project. So I've been working on Sleeping Beauty. Beauty and the Beast. Jeez Louise. This is going to be, or I want to be, a finish this year, so I've been trying to work fairly hard on it, but not so hard that I feel like I'm getting burnt out. So this one is almost halfway finished. So here's the whole thing. And I've been working over here. I filled in this blue down here along the side. I did that by hand or in hand stitching without the hoop because it's just easier to get over here. And I've just been slowly filling in his face. He's almost completely done with his face, which is nice. I can't wait till I can see the beast. So yeah, he's been looking really good. And as soon as I finish over here, I think I'm then, as soon as I finish his face basically, which is like right here, I'm then gonna move back over to Belle and continue filling in like Belle around her, because I filled in like her chest area, minus like a couple of ninja stitches. But anyway, so here's the whole thing on this one. So yeah, this is my current rotation for my car pattern. I worked on the cottage for my last rotation, and by rotation I mean until I get bored of it. And I'll show that, actually I'll show that right now. So the cottage is also one that I want to get finished this year. This one has been so close to being done for a while, which is so sad because I have like 2 other cottages that I want to start working on as soon as I finish this one, but I refuse to start them until this one is done. So this one, for some reason, doesn't have the pattern picture in here. So let me scroll down, because this was one of my very first patterns. Okay, so here's this one. As soon as the light adjusts. There we go. So I'm getting really close. I'm stitching on the top of the wishing well over here. So that's where I'm at. And this was my last rotation's car line, pickup line. And I also just recently converted this to 10 stitch. And I had a stitching session on this one too, where I stitched about 1,000 stitches. No, 900 stitches. So this one's getting pretty far. So I don't know if you can tell where I started converting to 10 stitch from back here, but if I scoot closer, it was right here is about where I switched to 10 stitch. So full cross, 10 stitch, and I'm so much happier stitching on this as tent. Like I said, I've converted, I think, all of my projects to 10 stitch now, all my stamped kits, and I'm so much happier working on them. It makes me want to work on them more. I really debated for a really long time on this one on whether or not I did want to convert it because I had so much done full cross. But I just continued looking at Gamer, and Gamer has both full cross and 10 stitch, and she looks just fine. And looking at this on camera, this looks just fine too. You can't tell. And this is about where you would look at it on the wall, maybe even further away. Probably about like right there. So, but anyway, so I finished this whole top section. I finished that, and then I just started working on the wishing well, which is right here, and it's looking so good. So there's this one. And again, this one I also want to have finished. There's about 3 projects I want to have finished this year, I think. This is definitely one of them. This is long overdue. This should have been finished last year, but oh well. And then speaking of Gamer, I have been working on Gamer. So we'll show that. As soon as I can get this bag open. There we go. So here is Gamer. And I had like a bunch done right here. I had Harry the Hedgehog over here done. And I had a tiny little square over here. So I've just been working on filling in up here. So without further ado, here we go. So like I said, I had just a little bit done over here. And so I've just been trying to finish this section right here. And I think minus a couple of stitches right here, I have it done to like right here. So I'm missing like a couple stitches right there and a couple stitches up there. But other than that, like just a couple of holes right here, and that part is done. And I'm just gonna work my way across to now and then start working down. So that's what I like to do. Normally I do the face first, then I start a corner, then I normally either do the middle or the other corner, and I slowly just this one, this one, this one, or if I'm not feeling that, I'll do the middle and then one of these, and I just kind of slowly work my way down that way. So yeah, it's looking really good. I think, is that the start of something right there? What is that? Oh no, that's just the leaf. That's the start of the leaf for these guys. So we're right here basically. Ooh, I can't wait. So yeah, here's this one. It would be cool if this one could be finished next year. It's definitely one of my favorites that I have, but I know that's kind of like a tall order. So we'll see. It's not like a goal, it's just a wish. Okay, next up we have, yeah honey, I'll make lunch in just a minute, okay? Sure, go grab an apple or something. So next up is Magic Study. I haven't worked on this one in a little bit, and so it came up as like a called for on one of my prompts. I can't remember. I picked a couple, and then this one was chosen. So this one I did a lot of cross country on this one when I first started, and so I've just been trying really hard to fill in all of those ninja stitches. So that way I can start doing the Royal Rose, and I've been doing that with like all of my full coverage now. So I just filled in more of the dragon is all I did on this one. So yeah, this one's definitely a struggle point for me. I feel like I don't have this one kitted up, you know, completely not kitted up. So I have to use my stash, my binder, and sometimes it's just kind of hard to do with the kiddos around. But eventually, I mean, I'll get there eventually. This one's not going anywhere. It's just, I have a hard time working on it. That, and it's also 28 count, and I'm really struggling with that too. I much prefer 14 count these days, or 18 count, or 16 count. Mostly 14 count though, and this is too big of a pattern to put on 14 count, unless I wanted to like, special order 14 count, And I don't want to start this over after stitching so much on it already. So. All right, there is that one. Okay, next up we have a long dog sampler. I put only about 150 stitches into this one last time. But tomorrow is the long dog sampler sal, or the leap year sal, that I am participating in. So I have 2 long dogs, and I'm gonna work on this one this time because last time I worked on my fish and chips. So fish and chips, I just call it fish and chips to be silly. So here's this one, and I did this flower this last time. So looking really good. This is 18 count Aida 1/1 because this is using sulky threads, so it's a little bit thicker. So this one definitely needs some TLC, which is why I'm going to work on this one tomorrow. Oh, and the pattern picture for that, I guess, would be nice to see. Sorry. Scroll back up here. Is this one, Life After Death. So I'm just all the way over here right now. See, did I show? Yeah. Okay, next up. So this is one of my more complicated patterns. This is my Dreamcatcher Dragon. And let me pull up the picture. So this is complicated because it's got half cross, full cross, blended threads. It's stitched over 2 on 28 count, lots of backstitch. So it's just kind of really hard to work on. But it's by Patterns by S.A. Stitch, and here is the pattern, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful when I get it there. But I slowly worked on this one, so I filled out this section right here and then started filling in some here. I'm almost done with the first page, so I just have this part over here and then the back stitch, and then this part is done. So it looks terrible without the back stitch, but as you can see up here, once you put the back stitch in, it looks really good. So yeah, it's just a really complicated pattern, and with the kiddos it's just really hard. So I just wanted to at least put in a few stitches. I think I did about 100 stitches on it. Okay. Next up, after doing the WIP parade, I was showing off my kids' cats that they chose, and it made me really want to work on them again. My son really likes his, and in the WIP parade video, I mentioned my daughter doesn't like hers anymore, but then she saw me do the WIP parade, and she's like, no, I do like that. I was like, yes! So I just started stitching on their cats again. So here is my son's cat that he picked. And he said he wanted me to start filling out the forehead. So with these, I let the kids pick where they want me to stitch. So they pick a section, I stitch it, and then I move to the next kiddo's kitty cat, and then they pick, I stitch that, and then kind of bounce back and forth, which is just so much fun. I love these patterns. So he wanted me to start working on the kitty cat's forehead. And I'm almost done. I just have this little bit of green right here, and this is the part that he wanted me to do. So I might stitch all the way up here, which is like its head too. We'll see. But this is where I've gotten to so far. And these are nice worn out patterns now because I, you know, bounce like all over the place when I'm stitching them. And so they've already softened up super nice. It's really nice to stitch on these. Super soft, but yeah, it definitely warms my heart, like stitching on them. It's like, oh, because not only are they really cute kitty cats, but my kids enjoy them when they like picking where I stitch and everything. And I'm glad my daughter likes hers now. And so without further ado, let's show my daughters. So, like I said, she says that she likes it again, and she wants me to start working on the flowers going around the outside, which is perfect because I need to start working on the background anyway on hers. So I did just that. Here is the whole thing. So of course we have a bunch of hanging threads now because they pick random spots for me to stitch on. So I just park wherever I need to and then move on. But I did this part right here last time. So she wanted me to start doing the loop-de-loops and the flowers, and that's exactly what I did. I just stitched right here. Pretty good progress on this one so far. And as soon as I do my son's forehead, which I'm almost done with, I'll let her pick. Hey, Bubs. Teeny is sleeping.
I'll go let him know.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, so she'll pick the next spot that I do on this one. Okay. See if I can make it through this video without going completely insane. We're about halfway, so like I said, there was a lot to show on this one. Okay, next up we have my mom's lighthouse. So this year, and most years, or as soon as we like finish a project, we pick a pattern and then that person stitches it for us. So we did mountains, right? Yeah, we did the mountain. I finished the no. Yes, I did the mountain, but that one was stitched for someone else. We just stitched it together. This time we picked patterns that we're gonna basically gift to each other. So this was her lighthouse that she chose, and I chose a different lighthouse. And so I've just been trying to stitch on this little by little. And here's where we've gotten to so far. So I started over here in the corner, and then I was like, oh, I should probably make sure that the lighthouse looks good before continuing or getting too far in this pattern, and then we don't like it. So I stitched the lighthouse to make sure that it looked good, and it does. It looks great. And the sky is looking really good too, so I've just been working on filling out the sky. I've been doing right here. So. And it's really hard to see where I've gotten to so far because the sky kind of blends in with the stuff. So here's where I've gotten to. Okay. These poor pattern pictures are so destroyed. I'm not very nice with them, and you know, they're not treated very nicely. I leave my like stitching on the couch right here if I need to get up and go do something, and the kids are all playing on the couch and messing with them too. So between my being rough and then them being rough, everything's just rough. Okay, next up we have Sleeping Beauty. So I am stitching this one with Shelly Lewis, the colorist Shelly Lewis on YouTube. There we go. Say that 10 times fast. And she is stitching the blue side of this pattern, and I am stitching the pink side. And this, I want to at least have my section done this year. I mean, that should definitely be doable. But I've been working on her a fair bit lately because I feel bad. She's further than I am, and her side looks so good, and I don't want to get behind. So I really want to get this done. Plus, it's such a beautiful pattern. So anyway, I've just been working on filling this out, and I've stitched a fair bit on her this last time. So I filled out from here to here on her chin, and then everything across and down is what I have filled out since my last showing of her. So yeah, she is looking good. So I just have to finish filling out to this like line right here, and then I need to stitch by hand filling in this part. When it's like the edge like that, it's so much easier to just do it stitch in hand instead of in a hoop. So, but I have this part left, which should go fairly quickly because this is all black, and you have bulk like orange down here. So yeah, here's the whole thing, looking really good. And we both decided that we're gonna wait for each other to finish their section before moving on this pattern. So whoever finishes first, it doesn't really matter. It's just, we'll like pause and wait for the other person to catch up unless we finish at the same time. And then we'll switch back over and we'll switch. So then I'll do the blue and she'll do the pink. So super fun to stitch with this with her. All right, next up we have my temperature sal. So this one I've done so many changes to. So not only, this is meant to be a temperature sal. And here is what the finished will look like, minus the books are like what you change the colors on. Mine I'm doing based off of reading time per day, so, or listening to my audiobooks time. So I changed the color chart, and I've changed so many of the little trinkets all over the bookshelves based off of what a bookshelf in my house would look like, which is super fun because I'm just kind of randomly creating this random things that pop into my head, and yeah, it's turning out pretty good. So here, let me move all of these threads out of the way. So we have finished January, we have finished February, and now we are working on March, which of course is almost done. So here, sorry for all the hanging threads, but I kind of need to keep them there. So for the end of February, this was just supposed to be a heart. I changed that into a heart-shaped vial to be kind of like the love potion in Harry Potter. And then March, we have here, this was supposed to be just like a, well, it was supposed to be this kind of weird like vase with like a little bit of like plants, but I didn't really like the look of that. So what I did is I created kind of like a little glass jar with what I thought looked like pothos, because I have a lot of pothos in my house. So I kind of charted that up myself. Hopefully it looks okay. And then I continued over here, and then I charted a little flying key for the flying keys in Harry Potter. Now, my husband said that he thought the wings should have gone the other way, and I agree, but I don't really want to rip it out, so I'm gonna leave it how it is. But there's a little flying key sitting on top of the books there. So we only have a couple more books here because March is almost done, and then we'll be working on April, which will be over here. So yeah, lots of hanging threads on this one, because what I do is when I stitch a book, I then park the threads up above here because I might use them again over here depending on my reading. So it all just depends, but yeah. Looking really good. I really like this one. I tend to stitch it about Friday night, just kind of catch up on the week. And then if there's any trinkets on the bookshelf, then I'll stitch those or create them. Or if I feel like a spot is looking a little blank, like on top of those books, I'll chart something in. So, that was a weird sound. Okay, next up we have the mermaid sal. I can't remember if I showed this one last time, or if I've shown any more of it, but here is the mermaid sal. Let me show you the picture. I'm stitching this with sallyanncrafting, and I am stitching this with abbeinstitches, so Sally and Abby. And I don't think anyone else is stitching this with us right now. Let me find the picture. There we go. This is Soda Stitches. And this is where we created our own sal for this one, basically just 1, 2, 3 into different months. And we're almost done with this one. And as soon as this one's done, we'll be starting Peter Pan next. So here is where we have gotten to so far. Now I am still behind on this one. I just caught up with last month's or the previous month's right here, and then I'm supposed to be doing this corner, and the mermaid down here. Now I still need to do this corner and the mermaid, so I'll be working on that this week. But I just recently finished this little clam, which is adorable, and that's where I stitched on this last session. And then we, of course, we have Ariel from Nikki, the Thread Maiden on Instagram. She gifted me that that needle minder, which is just perfect because this is Little Mermaid. But yeah, so it's looking pretty good so far. I love this pattern. It's a little bit hard to stitch just because there's a lot going on, but once you start working on it, it's a joy to stitch. Okay. Next up, we have a restart. I'm pretty sure I showed you guys the restart on a normal WIP update, but just in case. This is fish and chips. I call it fish and chips because it makes me think of fried fish and french fries. So here is the long dog sampler pattern. I originally started this on 18 count Aida fiddlers using 3-strand tent, using whatever variegated floss like I felt like stitching at that time. So here's where I got to on that. Now I didn't like it because the bird was not showing very well. I mean, all of the details weren't showing very well. There's like a crab there that's really hard to see. So I just was not enjoying this. So I ended up switching it to 14 count Aida using Paris Colorist by DMC. It kind of has all the beachy colors that I think of when I go to the beach. And I've gotten to almost where I left off. So here, as soon as I get it back, okay, here is where we've gotten to. So the only thing, I went down to do this little whale first before coming over and doing the crab and the like little air balloon thing. But I am so much happier with this now. I can actually see the bird right here. I can see these little like butterflies, the anchor, and then I recharted the water coming out of the whale because it was supposed to just be going backwards and I didn't like that. So I made it be on both sides. But super love how this one is turning out so far. The 14 count and full cross and the thread change was all just perfect. And then of course we have our little beach needle minder from Projectstitchcraft on Etsy. This is like a little resin needle minder, which is super cute. So yeah, there is that one. Oh, this is becoming a very long video, sorry. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. I can't see all the way over there. Okay. Next up we have Cosmic Girl. This is another one of my watercolor girls. I just stitched a big section on her. I think it ended up being about 800 or 900 stitches. So last time I worked on her, I was working on filling in this background. This time I stitched all of this right here. So she is looking pretty good. I'm super excited that her face turned out really good. The background's looking really, everything is just looking really good. So there is where she is. And here is the back. And she is supposed to look like, I lost her pattern picture. I think it's on my dresser, but I will pull her up on here to show, because I have a picture of everything on my phone. So this is what she is supposed to look like. So we're getting there. We're about a third of the way done. Not too shabby. And she's turning out really good, which makes me like working on her. She's an 11 count stamped kit that I'm stitching all of my 11 count stamped kits using 6 strands tent stitch. Okay, next up, I just recently worked on this one, but I only put about, 100 stitches into it. I didn't get a very big stitching session on it, but I want to work on it a little bit more. So this one is the sky. This reminds me of the Over the Garden Wall show. It's totally got that vibe. It's got the frog and the dancing pumpkins. So I worked on, I was missing a color, so I recently got that color and started filling in, and it was like this green color. So I did the green right here, the little connected, the little pumpkin things to the vine, and then filled out the missing green that was in the frog is what I did. It ended up being, like I said, about 100 stitches. So, and this is on 14 count printed Aida. So, okay, next up we have a restart. So, of course, I don't have the old project with me, it's in the room, but I was stitching on the Eevee cat post that I got for Christmas. I didn't get very far on it. I did recently take a picture of where I was though. So originally I was here. That's where I started. I got to about right here and realized I was not liking the fabric. It was like hurting my fingers by trying to pull the needle too hard, and I wasn't liking it. It was hurting. So I ended up dyeing up some new fabric to stitch on. This was 19 count fabric. I got it from Amazon and it ended up being 19 count instead of 18 count. So I've been trying to use it up, but I couldn't do it for this one. And this pattern is this one. This is GlitchstitchAU on Etsy. And so I restarted it. I just dyed fabric last night for it. So here is the fabric that I dyed last night. Of course, it's all wrinkled. I don't bother ironing. But here it is. And then I just restarted stitching all of this. I'm just 10 stitching all of it until I get this post in, and then I'll start going back over the top of it when I have a little bit more focus time. And I really like doing just the 10 stitch like this on counteds. One, so I can make sure my stitch count is correct, and then two, I don't have to use my phone to go back over all of this stuff. So with this one, just like the this one, I'm going to be doing all the black outline because there's black around every Eevee. So I'm just going to do all the black outline on all of this, and then I'll start filling it in just like I was coloring in a picture. So yeah, the fabric is showing up perfectly on camera, which is great. I think it turned out super cute. It's like cotton candy. But yeah, this is 16 count Aida. I'm stitching over two strands over one full cross, or at least it will be full cross when I get going on it. Okay, next up we have a pattern that I was gifted at the beginning of the year. This was gifted from Emma. iwasphoebe on Instagram, and she is also stitching this. And this pattern is this one right here. I think it's called Magic Book. Yeah. Okay, Magic Book. Now this pattern is absolutely huge, but it is stunning. And I had gotten a very sad start on it last time I stitched on it, because I just started it very quickly before the end of the year so I can work on it. And let me see if I can find the photo of where I was. Yeah, so before I started working on it this time, I was right here. And here is where I've gotten to so far. So this is on 18 count Aida that I dyed like petal pink myself. I am stitching this 10 stitch 18 count using 3 strands, and then here's a little needle minder that she also gifted me, which is super cute. It like totally works with this pattern. But yeah, so slowly just filling this in. This was a good one to just start working on, filling in all the black while I was at sports, because you're only working with one color. I had pattern keeper, so everything's just working out. There is that one. Okay, next up we have Trick or Treat Sal. So this is a Sal that I am doing with Sally and Abby. we're working on several different styles together. This is, let me find the picture of the pattern. This is Cottage Garden Samplings, Trick or Treat. So what we did is we're just trying to stitch each square a month, but we have skipped a couple months because these are very heavy stitching. It's heavy stitching in each square. So I am 1 month behind on this. I'm trying to get caught up. So I should have 3 squares done already, but I don't. That's okay. So I have done this one right here. This one is supposed to be a filled in pumpkin over here with the ravens, but I liked how it was looking without filling in the pumpkin, because it kind of reminds me of the fire guy in Howl's Moving Castle. So I thought that was super cool. And then I also left the raven's wing unstitched. It's supposed to be filled in like this one, but I thought it looked more like a yin yang kind of thing. So yeah, looking really good. And then I started the frame for this one down here. Now this is the 19 count fabric that I was telling you guys on the other pattern is hurting my fingers. This one's also hurting my fingers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the 3 right here, call this one complete, and then I'm gonna do the next 3, and I'm gonna frame them all as wall hangings. So this one will be done on this fabric. I'll dye another piece of fabric and do the next 3, and same with the other. So that way I'll just have 3 wall hangings. So super fun. I'm just not really enjoying stitching on this fabric. It's definitely not very fun. Okay, let's see, did we make it? Did I show everybody everything? Okay, I showed everyone, I've showed everything that I've worked on minus one more project. So this next project I'm going to show is my lifelong project is what I'm calling it. It's called Enchanted Forest. It was a present for my husband for Christmas or my birthday, one of the two. I get the two confused. But this pattern is actually 999 stitches by 999 stitches for a total of, what is that, 998,001? I think is what it ends up being. It's absolutely huge. I had to special order fabric for it. I ended up special ordering 22 count fabric off of AliExpress. I also special ordered all of this floss. I decided to go with CXC floss, but I can only order that on AliExpress. So I went through on an Excel spreadsheet and filled out like all of the colors that I wanted. I got about 90% of the colors that I needed for it. I guess we're not done with this video. There's 2 more projects on the floor. Ugh. Anyway, so this is my lifelong project. It's going to be absolutely huge. I'm going to show you guys a picture of what the fabric looks like on top of my king size bed. I think that will give everyone an idea of how big this is. But I love it. It's going to look super cool if it ever gets finished. It is, yeah, my lifelong project. So that's what the fabric looks like on my king size bed. It takes up almost the whole thing. It's about like queen size, the fabric is. So here is the bag of floss that I need to kit up. I decided I'm doing this on floss cards, just because I thought that would be easier. It has 230 colors. So what I did is I took these floss cards and I just put some tape on there and wrote the DMC number because this is in Pattern Keeper, and then I'm using them like that. Now I do have several of these floss cards and I haven't fully finished kitting this up yet because the first 3 pages are all 310 and 939 and nothing else. So without further ado, let me show you the pattern and my progress. So with that being said, I was gifted this project before the no new starts happened. I had to special order everything and wait for everything to come in before I could start it. However, this was not a planned start. I did not write this down as a planned start, but as soon as I got the stuff, I waited about a week and I just couldn't wait anymore. I had to start it. So I did break the no new starts with this pattern technically. Also, I started this last week, and I have been dying ever since to start more things. So I think I'm officially tapping out. I tap out. I have done no new starts from January through July once before, but when I did that, I was also pregnant with teeny tiny, and so I didn't feel good and lost my stitching bug. So it was super easy because I didn't feel like stitching anything, so why would I want to start anything new? But doing it this time has been extremely hard to do, but I have stuck with it until this point. So as of last week is when I started this last Friday. So I made it to, last Friday was March 22nd. I made it to March, about halfway. Was it super cool to try? Yes. Was I successful? No. And that's okay, because this was just to try and get me to not start as many things. I kind of blew that out of the park when out of the water, not park. I messed up when I started starting way too many things in January before the no new starts started. I started way too many things, which kind of defeated the purpose. It's supposed to stop you from like buying a bunch and starting a new bunch of patterns, so that way you can work on your older projects. I started a bunch of new stuff, and then I'm still working on all of my old projects, but I started doing prompts this year, and that's really helped with working on some of my older stuff. But I still want to start new things. Like it's almost Easter time. I have an Easter pattern that I want to start, and I can't because of no new starts, and I just feel guilty. And then I'm like, ugh, I really want to, but you know what? Life is too short, and this was kind of a cool experience to do. But yeah, I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm tapping out officially. I officially tap out. Sorry I couldn't do it, but it was my own goal, you know, and it is what it is. So, okay, that being said, here is my lifetime project. Here's all of the fabric. I keep this in a ginormous, like 5-gallon Ziploc bag on my lap while I'm stitching, so that way the fabric doesn't get ruined, because this is gonna be such a big pattern. This is stitched on 22 count Ada. No, I guess it technically is even weave, but it's not hard dinger. Stitched on 22 count, 2 strands, 10 stitch. And here's where I've gotten to so far. So I started this last Friday. So tomorrow is Friday. So this has about 6 days on it. I've been stitching 200 stitches a day until I get the 3 pages of 939 and 310 out of the way. And then once I start pages that actually have more colors, I'm just gonna at least stitch on this at least once a day. No matter how much I get done, I'm at least gonna try and stitch it every single day, so that way this eventually gets finished or gets worked on. So that being said, when I first started this last Friday, Saturday I had my first like big session on it, and I beat my record of like stitch count in a day. So I stitched 2,080 stitches on this in one day. And that's the most amount that I've ever stitched on any project in a given day, or just in general, my stitch count in a day. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, this is all 310 and 939. You can see a little bit of the 939 in there. And yeah, this is like 3,200 stitches. No, yeah, something like that. 3,000 something. So I'm 0.32% done on this with this progress so far. So yeah, that's a biggin'. And that being said, I thought this was going to be the end of the video, but I dropped 2 patterns down on the floor. So I'm going to show, one of them is a finish, and then the other one is right here. So next up, I got a lot of stitching done on the black pearl. The black pearl, I will show you the picture of. it is right here by the Witchy Stitcher. This one is awesome. I love this pattern. I love stitching on it. It's super cool. I'm stitching on this on Bee Stitch Me fabric as well. And here's what I've gotten to. So last time I picked this up, I had most of the words done. I had the, and I was working on the black, and I just needed to finish the K. So this last session, I got pearl and basically all of the ship done. Now what I have changed this, what I decided to do on this is the ship, I decided to stitch the ship tent stitch using the same amount of threads that I do the full cross. So this is stitched 2 strands full cross on 18 count Aida. And what I decided to do is stitch the ship 2 strands 10 stitch to make it look more like a ghost ship, since the black pearl is technically like a little ghosty ship. Yeah, it's all 10 stitch to make it look like mysterious and creepy. That's what I was trying to do. So here's the tentacles of the kraken. Those are full cross. The birds are full cross, but the 10 stitch will be all the ship. So yeah, this is so much fun to work on. So yeah, super cool. And that's my bread. Sorry, bread machine's gonna beep for a few seconds. Okay, next up we have a finish. So this is a sal. I'm stitching this with several different people. Let me pull up the pattern picture for this. This wasn't supposed to be a sal, but we kind of turned it into one. So I'm stitching this one with Whittier stitches and abbeinstitches and sallyanncrafting, and I think someone else just recently joined, one of my other followers on YouTube, Stitchery Witchery. There we go. I think she has a YouTube channel as well, so go check her out. And I'll put her channel link down below as well. That being said, let me show you the pattern. This is Whip It Good. So we took this is a heartstring samplery. We took this pattern and split it into 9 sections, and then each month we do a section, and we finished it. So we are gonna get some more in the series, just not quite yet, because we're still trying to catch up on Trick or Treat and the mermaid cell and everything, but here it is. So cool. I finally have a finish. It's not just like an itty bitty little thing, which is super nice. So this is stitched on 18 count Aida, 2 strand full cross, using colorists, and I can't remember the name of this one, but I've mentioned it in my WIP braid. So if you need to know the thread, go check that out. But yay, it's finished. And every time I worked on this, I thought of the Whip It song, Whip It Real Good. So anyway, it was super fun and got lots of laughs. So there it is. Okay, now that is the end of this WIP update. Sorry, there's so much to show. Hopefully I got everything. Hopefully I mentioned everyone. I will try and leave all of the details in the description box down below of anyone's channel or anyone's Etsy shop or anyone's Instagram name that I mentioned. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, if you stayed this whole time, then congratulations. Give yourself a round of applause. And thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I really appreciate every single one of you. It's fun to make stitching friends, and yeah, if you ever want to chit chat, just send me a comment. I hope you all stay safe, stay warm, and take care. Bye.